Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Carroll style and new up and coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by Layla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Carroll style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Carroll style and experience the luxury of art that you wear.
Welcome back to Improving Your Thoughts by Freeing Yourself. I'm your host, Layla Carroll, and this is episode 3, part 2. Strong people need rest too. In this part, we're going to talk about why rest feels so wrong when you've always been the strong one. So welcome back. I know I've been gone for a little while. I told you I've been on vacation. Matter of fact, I'm still on vacation. I go back to work this Saturday. So I got an opportunity to really get a whole month off. I took and hey, it is what it is. I had to enjoy myself and get some real rest. I'm sitting here talking to you guys about strong people need rest too, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this episode and I'm doing this season 11, is because I feel like we don't get enough rest. We don't get enough time for ourselves. All this time while I have been on vacation, I have been busy too. And it's weird. I ain't gonna even say weird because it's normal, but it's not normal at the same time because when you on vacation, you're supposed to rest, you're supposed to take time for yourself and relax. So the first 3 weeks of my vacation, I was doing a lot of ripping and running. I went to Los Angeles. My husband had a basketball tournament camp there for 2 weekends straight, and I went to both of them. I was not supposed to go to the second one. I was only supposed to go to the first one, which I was there, and I did that last podcast there. But then he was so adamant about having me come back. And this time I brought our son and our dog, our little Yorkshire Terrier Cinnamon, with us. And I said the only way I go back is if I get to bring them too, because I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be by myself. I enjoyed myself on the beach. I did go to the beach, like I said, on that Sunday. I had a wonderful time. I stayed out there for 3 hours. I laid down on my mat and I listened to the waves and I had my little fruity drinks and I ate and I had a wonderful time. I got a tan and everything. And then I started seeing everybody with their dogs on the beach and I was like, man, I could have brought my dog. So I made sure that I brought my dog the next time, and yes, I did. So Cinnamon was with me and my son was with me. And we was at the beach having a good time. This time we went on a Saturday instead of a Sunday. And we also went to the place where my husband go to and where he was doing his job and coaching. And I wanted to see if my son wanted to participate next year because he started his journey in sports this season. Matter of fact, this is his 7th grade year, so he's going to get the opportunity to play football, basketball, and run track. And he said he wants to do those things. Well, before we even get off into all of the extravaganza stuff that goes along with that, I wanted to see if this was something he really wanted to do. So I brought him to the camp, and I'll say I just want you to pay attention to the coaches, pay attention to the players, and watch how they are taking this very, very seriously. Because my son has a way of not taking things seriously sometimes. especially when he feel like he don't want to do something. And I told him the minute that you start something, you will not be able to quit. You have to see it all the way through. So I wanted him to get an opportunity to be there and really get the opportunity to see if this is what he really wanted to do. So we're going to see about that. This is going to be the test. When he starts sports this year, this is going to be the real test of his endurance, if he really has what it takes to show up and show out. So we'll go from there. Anyway, so welcome back. I am, like I said, I'm still on vacation. I have a whole week before I go back to work, and this was the week that I told myself nobody is going to interrupt me from enjoying my vacation. And it's not about always going somewhere to have a vacation. Sometimes it's just about relaxing and just staying at home, not having anything to do, not having an obligation to meet. And 2 days ago, my husband's like, well, maybe we should just take a trip, just me and you. And I said, no. Like, you really don't understand how exhausting I am right now. I am going to need a vacation from the vacation if we go somewhere, because I'm going to go back to work feeling like I didn't get the proper rest that I needed. And he kept saying, well, I'm just saying because it can just be me and you. And I said, no, you're still not getting it, because if I go somewhere, that means I got to go back to the airport. And then I got to fly back. And we literally slept at the airport not one time but 2 times, because by me being a flight attendant, we fly standby. For any of you guys who know what that's like, yeah, you know what I'm getting at, right? You know what I'm getting at. So I thought we can fly the red eye coming back from Los Angeles to come back to Houston. No. When I say everybody and their mama was flying at 12 midnight at night, that plane was so full, oversold. I was like, you would think it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon the way these people are out here. So we didn't get on that flight. The next flight didn't fly until 5 o'clock in the morning. So that means that we had to stay the night at the airport. That first night was treacherous for me because I didn't have a sweater with me, which I know better. I know better. I didn't have anything to keep me warm. I was freezing in that place. And then the music that was playing through the intercom was pretty loud, so I couldn't just relax and shut my mind off and really go to sleep. There was nowhere to really lay at, even though they had carpet on the floor. It was just hard. The floor was hard. And lo and behold, I started my period, and I didn't have no pads with me. Like, I didn't have no tampons, no pads, no nothing. Man, I was like, this is a nightmare. So I went to the bathroom to figure something out. You know, as women, we're going to figure it out, right? So that's what I did. I went in there and figured it out. And I had to clean myself up because I had a big red spot on the back of my pants. My husband was like, oh, my God, did you start your period? I said, yes, I did. With an attitude, yes, did. Just like, I don't know that. Like, I don't know that. Like, I know. Shoot. And so he's like, oh, Lord, here we go. So I go to the bathroom, clean myself up, and then I come back out, and I'm just not in the mood. I am a wreck right now. And so when he asked me to go back out there the next following weekend, I was like, you got to be out your mind. Why would I want to go back to that again? But I realized that I can come prepared this time. I wasn't prepared the first time. So I made sure I had everything. I had extra. I had a blanket with me. I had I had my sweater. I had lots and lots of pads. I had everything you can think of. I even had my survival kit that you put yourself in, like a body bag, not a body bag, a sleeping bag that you put yourself in that warms you up. I even had that. And I was prepared. I had my earplugs so I didn't have to listen to no music. Oh my goodness. I was ready. And lo and behold, the same thing happened again. I was like, this must be the norm out here in LA. Everyone must want to fly the red eye. So I thought I was outsmarting the system and decided to fly let's go to Vegas instead of staying in LA, which I'm glad we did, because when we got to Vegas, it was easier for us to get on the flight because it was open. But I encountered a problem. What problem did I encounter? The freaking gate agent was not going to let me on the plane with my dog. Had the audacity to tell me that I had to pay. And I had to let her know, we don't pay. Flight attendants don't pay for the pets. And she said, y'all don't pay? No, we don't. So we got to pay. Well, you're a gate agent. I'm a flight attendant. We have different rules. So I don't know what you're talking about. And she didn't want to let me on the plane. That's a whole nother story within itself. I'm telling you guys, if I tell you the story, this podcast will be too long. But all I'm going to tell you is that I got on the plane after I had to pray about it, after I had to tell her to her face that karma is a bitch. You're going to experience what you put me through. You're going to go through this because you didn't have to do that.
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Layla Carroll style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alaylacarrollstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like.
And I flew down here, and you see the dog tag on the carrier that lets you know I flew down here. I did not have to pay then. Why do I have to pay now? Why are you been a jerk about this? And it was just ridiculous. Her supervisor was the one who let me on, so she had to call her supervisor. Her supervisor was like, "Well, let me see what we can do," and got me on the plane and everything. But this woman, I'm telling you, and no, she was not white. She was black, and I don't know what problem she had with me, but I was just as nice as I could be. But it wasn't good enough for her. I heard her tell the gate agent, her supervisor, I just saw that she had a dog with her, and I did not think that she was able to get on the plane. I didn't really know that she had already flew down here with the dog. Well, that's your job to read the tag, and you would have saw if you would have looked my information up that I had the dog with me, which the supervisor ended up doing that and asked me a few questions. She said, "So you came from Houston?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "So you flew with your dog?" "Yeah." And I'm like, people fly with their dogs all the time, so why do I have a problem? Why I got the problem? So I was thinking I'm going to have to rent a car to drive all the way back home. You know, people sometimes just don't want to do their job properly. And when you have a problem like that, I think they are burnt out. I literally do. And it's funny that I say that because when I did make it back to Houston, I was talking to one of the gate agent in Houston. Actually, it wasn't me talking to it, was my husband. He was talking to her, and he said, y'all are much nicer than those there in Vegas. And he was saying something about that, and she said, well, to her defense, I have to tell you that we're short staffed. We don't have a lot of gate agents and they overwork us, so we're burnt out and we're tired. And she just didn't feel like going through the proper channels of looking her information up to make sure that the dog was properly able to travel with her. I said, that's not my fault though, because you burnt out. If you that tired, take a vacation or put some time in some personal time. I know you have PTO. I know you have personal time that you can take off. Or better yet, find another job where you don't have to act like this with people. Because she gave me a hard time for no reason. Just because she's tired. So this is why I'm talking to you guys about this strong person, being a strong person and everything. Because if you're just joining us today, if you're just joining me today, today's episode is called Strong People Need Rest Too. In part one, we talked about how rest isn't something you earn, it's something God designed. We've explored how our culture often celebrates exhaustion while quietly ignoring the cost of constantly carrying more than we was meant to carry. Now, let's talk about something many strong people wrestle with, which is the guilt of resting. Why do we feel guilty for resting? Why does rest feel so uncomfortable to us? Have you ever taken a day off only to only to find yourself getting up to clean up your house? How about spending the day thinking about what you should be doing instead of just relaxing and enjoying your time off? How about answering emails, returning phone calls? Some phone calls is okay to make if it's just about random conversations. But if it's a phone call that have to do with work, that's not resting. That's still working. And okay, what about this one? Checking on everyone else and their issues and things that they got going on when you should not be worried about the next person. So before you know it, your day of rest look just like every other day. So why is this? That's because for many strong people, slowing down feels unfamiliar. Yeah, I hear this a lot coming from people. I don't know how to stop. I just keep going. I just got to keep moving. I got to keep doing something. That's because your brain hasn't been able to stop and process right now what's going on right now. That's called mindfulness. You need to practice mindfulness. If you start practicing mindfulness, that's basically being aware of the moment that you're in without judgment. Don't judge it. Just enjoy what's going on right now. If you're able to find yourself in a situation where you can't shut your brain off, meditate. Concentrate on something, one specific spot, and just stare at it. And eventually your brain will stop thinking and you will start focusing. And that's what you want to do. So before you know it, you have to understand that if you don't get the rest that you probably need, you're going to exhaust yourself even after you come back from your day off. You're going to still feel like you haven't had a day off. It's a mental thing. It's all in the mind. So why do we do this? What is it that has us doing this type of thing to ourselves? Well, we constantly think that we have to stay busy. When you spend years being the dependable one, being still can feel uncomfortable to you because you are the dependable one. People are always calling you for something. It's always something they're calling you for. Sometimes we become so used to taking care of everyone else that we no longer know how to simply take care of ourselves anymore. The lie that keeps you running from here to there is exactly what goes on in your mind. It's a lie. Many of us have unknowingly believed a lie, such as, if I stop, everything will fall apart. No, it will not. That's a heavy burden to carry. The truth is, you're important, but you're not meant to carry the weight of the entire world. Only God can do that. Every time we confuse responsibility with control, we convince ourselves that everyone depends on us. And while people may rely on you, that were never your job in the first place. They were never meant to replace God with you. That's the problem. You have become their God. And that's why you're exhausted, because you don't have that kind of power to withhold all that stuff that they're dumping on you. You can love people deeply without carrying every burden that they have. And this is why you have to rest. This is why you must rest. Even Jesus walked away. One of the most beautiful things about Jesus' ministry is that he knew when to step away from the crowd. Yeah, crowds will follow him everywhere. People wanted miracles, healings, answers. Yet, there were moments when Jesus withdrew to quiet places to pray and to rest. He didn't heal every person in one day. He didn't meet every demand immediately. He trusted the Father's timing. And that's what we need to get to. So if Jesus wasn't driven by the pressure to meet everyone's expectations, why do we believe we have to? Resting isn't neglecting your purpose. No, it's not. Actually, it's what is required for your purpose. Sometimes it's just preparation. Okay? That's what resting is to get you prepared for your purpose. Your body speaks to you. I need you to know that your body talks to you. Pay attention to what it is saying. God designed our bodies to communicate with us. Sometimes our body whispers. Sometimes it shouts. Constant fatigue is your body talking to you. Trouble sleeping. You're having trouble sleeping. Your body's talking to you. You're irritable. Your body's talking to you. You get brain fog. Oh, you forget things just on the spur of the moment. Your body is talking to you. Frequent headaches. Your body is talking to you. Feeling emotionally numb, like you just don't feel it no more. Yes, your body's talking to you. Losing joy in things you once loved to do. Yeah, your body's talking to you. These aren't always signs of weakness. It's your body talking to you, okay? Sometimes they're signs that you've been strong for too long without allowing yourself to recover. Ignoring those signs doesn't make you stronger. It actually weakens your immune system. It also makes you feel like you can't continue to go on, because it will shut you down. It definitely would do that. So ignoring those signs doesn't make them go away. No, it only delays your healing. And if you want to get better, you must do what's necessary. Get yourself some rest. Rest is an act of trust. That's what it is. What it does is that, here's a thought that I want to use to change your perspective. Every time you choose to rest, you are saying to God, God, I trust you to keep working while I stop and sleep, while I stop and just relax. That's faith. That's what that is. Faith isn't only praying hard and praying harder and praying harder. That's not faith. Faith is trust. It's literally putting your trust into God and allowing Him to do what He's going to do, knowing in your heart that it's going to be all right. Sometimes faith is just taking a nap. Take that nap. You need it. In the middle of the day, get that nap in. You ain't missing nothing no way. Don't be afraid of missing out. That FOMO is not real. It's just a thought in your mind, okay? Sometimes faith is just logging off. Get off the line. Get off the computer. Get off your phone. Sometimes faith is just saying no to the person who keeps coming at you, and you just need to say no. No, I can't. Not this time. No. And also protecting your peace. That's what faith does for you. It protects your peace. Trusting that God can accomplish more through your obedience than through your exhaustion. Because you've been exhausted will not accomplish anything. Matter of fact, you're going to start messing up on things when you're exhausted. So I have some questions I want to give to you. I want you to reflect on these questions. I want you to think about them, all right? So take quiet moments out of your day and just think about these questions throughout the day when you are resting. Just think. Not too much, though, because you're supposed to be resting. But I do want you to take some time to think about these questions. One question I want you to think about is, what emotions come up when you think about slowing down? Another one I want you to think about is, what keeps you from resting? What is that thing that's stopping you from getting the rest that you need? Another question, do you believe everything depends on you? Because if you really believe that, that's a problem, because you're not going to be here forever. What's going to happen when you're no longer able to do anything? See? So everything don't depend on you. And it shouldn't. If it does, it's time to make that stop. You have to put a stop to that. Change that. Stop allowing people to totally depend on you. They have to figure some things out on their own. And another question I want you to think about is, have you ignored signs of burnout because you felt you had to keep going? We do that a lot as strong people. We ignore the signs. And then the last question I want you to think about is, what would change if you truly believed God could carry what you've been holding? Because you are holding something. Give it to God. So as we move on to part 3, episode 3, part 3, in part 3, we're going to discover what healthy living is. We're going to also discover what healthy, life-giving rest really look like. Like, what is that? What is it? What do a healthy life look like when you actually rest? When you get the proper rest that you need? We're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about practical ways of refilling your emotions, your physical, mental, and spiritual reserve without feeling guilty. And we're going to talk about how the strong person healing is going to take place for you. I'm going to give you some activities on how you can do this. I don't want you just knowing about these things. I want you actually actively working on these things, okay? So, because rest isn't about doing nothing, I know you probably think that, but it's not. It's really about making room for God to restore what constant responsibility has broken you down. He needs to restore you. Always having someone to be responsible for. Always having something to be responsible for. Always being responsible for something or someone. You have been broken down and you're worn out. So I'm going to try to help you get to a place where you can get that strength back. And we're going to have some activities. I'm going to give you some assignments. You have to do these things so you can get back to where you belong. And that's making room for God to restore you. All right. So signing out, Alayla.
Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing Stress Management with Imaging Coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, You'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com.